Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to the channel. My name is Gabriel King. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about Photoshop. It's one of the things that you need to know. Trust me. All the pros use this, okay? It's a technique. It's called frequency separation. And it's really awesome because, like, okay, if you're taking a normal portrait, a lot of the times, you know, you just take the portrait with your 1.8 aperture or whatever. Oh, bokeh looks great. You get there, you're gonna color grade it, whatever. Looks good, whatever, blah. That's all you need to do. No. What frequency separation can do is it can separate you from the noobs and compare you with like a lot of the pros. And the way it is like if you look right here, you know, you see these professional photos in these models that have insanely clear skin and it's like gorgeous, okay? Like take this model for instance, nothing on her face, it's perfectly contoured, everything. Same thing with like the whole Kylie Jenner's line, stuff like that. You'll see this everywhere, how smooth. Nobody's skin is that smooth, let me tell you what. And then same thing over here. I brought up this one just because a lot of people, you know, if a lot of people have acne or things like that, it helps take out a lot of blemishes and stuff like that. So if you know, this is kind of like a before and after of somebody that did the technique on this this girl's face on the left and then kind of made it look a lot better on the right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pull up Photoshop. This is actually a photo that I shot with an old camera. It was like it was a Sony a6500. Had a 50mm, 1.8 aperture, and her skin is pretty good though. Like what we can see is her skin is really good. Let's get started, I guess. So basically what you want to do is you just kind of want to start out with a picture. I'm gonna Control J. I'm working on Windows, that's Command J on Mac. And basically what I usually start with is I start with 2 copies. So we're gonna do it again. So and then we're gonna just call the 2 different layers 2 different things. So I'm gonna call this one skin, and I usually just put text. It means texture, and that's what the frequency separation is we're going to be separating the textures of the face from the colors that kind of lie underbeneath. That sounds like such a weird word. I don't know. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have one of them highlighted, press Control, click on the second one, and then we're gonna press Control G, and that's gonna put them in a group. And that way it's just easier when we're, you know, getting further in editing to go back and see what we might have, you know, done. That way it's also another way to just to be non-destructive when you doing this workflow. So I usually just double click on the group and name it frequency sep. That just kind of tells me this is frequency separation. This is where I did it. And I usually always do it first thing before I do anything else with it. I want to make sure the face looks good before I start applying any type of LUT or, you know, color grade or anything like that. And also, if you're on, anytime I say Control, if you're on a Mac, it's Command. So Command J, Command Z, Control Z, Control J, it's all the same thing basically. Unshow the texture, we're gonna turn off that, and we're gonna hold up skin. We're gonna go up to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, or Gaussian blur, however you say it. And usually you wanna blur the face to where it's kind of, you know, the skin all starts kind of melting together, but you still want to be able to see like some details like the eyes, eyebrows, these little shadowy details. So you don't want to go too overboard with it. That's okay. Then we're going to bring the texture and put that on again. So we're going to click on the texture. We're going to go up here to image. We're going to go down to apply image. And then right here, we're going to click invert. On this layer, we're going to click skin, which is the layer down here, the skin layer. And then on blending, we're going to go to add. So as you can see right here, I don't know if you can really see with the YouTube compression, but you should see like kind of like an outline, just gray outline of the person's face or whatever. Oh, and don't forget to put scale to 2. I think it starts out on 1 and it just kind of looks like this. Change it to 2. And that's what it should look like. Click OK. And then we're going to go down to down here, and we're going to click linear light. So when that's all said and done, if you turn off the layer and turn it back on, it should look exactly the same as your regular layer does, the regular original picture. The only difference here is that now we have separated the textures from the skin. And why this is good is because now we could go through the skin and make it really nice and soft all the way through. That way there's not too much shadows in certain spots and whatnot, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I always like to actually duplicate my skin layer. So we're going to do Control J again. We're just going to turn off the bottom skin layer. I always duplicate it just so that I have a copy, because I don't want to have to rewind, go back and re-blur it again, do the whole texture thing again. So I always have a copy, that way in case if I go overboard, I have a backup right here. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go over to right here, the healing brush tool, and if you just click and hold down this band-aid button and you'll find it. Give me 1 second, my dog's going. Dogs these days, guys. You can't live with them, can't live without them. Alright, where were we? So, now that we, okay, yeah. So this healing brush tool, you press Alt if you want to, so this is what you do. Whatever you want to sample, so you'll click Alt, sample, and then whatever you move it to, that'll actually put a sample down of what was in that spot. Don't forget, I would just say copy my settings up here, sampled, make sure it says sampled, make sure the mode is normal. Right up here, my hardness is about 19%, my spacing is about 25%. The size varies. I make the size bigger and smaller for depending on how big or small the face is in the picture. Or how much, how big the blemishes are. Let's go with that. That makes sense. What we do is, this kind of sounds a little tacky, but we're just gonna click all over her face. Like, actually, like, that's what we're going to do. So, we're just gonna click all over her face. So we're gonna go in. I usually like to get pretty far in. And we're gonna sample, like, say this spot. I want the rest of this to kind of match around this color. So we're just gonna click around. Like, you're actually just clicking a bunch of times. You're just going over everything. Trust me, it looks weird now that I'm just clicking a bunch, but at the end, like, it'll be worth it. And don't worry, I'll speed this up for you guys so that way you don't have to watch the whole thing. And don't forget, guys, when you're doing this, you want to keep sampling around the same color of what like the face looks like. So this side, the face is brighter, so I'm sampling off of a brighter spot for the whole face on this side. But you wouldn't want to use the same sample for over here because it's a different color. So you want to go for around the same sample color. Alright, I'm not going to go over it too much just for sake of tutorial, but if you do look at the before and after, oh wait, I got to turn on the bottom layer. If you do look at the before and after, you can see the difference. Like, you don't really see it when you're doing all the clicking, but you can really tell that it really, like, you know, any saggy eye stuff, any saggy chin stuff. I'm not saying it's saggy, I just mean like lines, you know, like bones and stuff like that. It'll help smooth it all out for a really smooth picture. Even if you got kind of a little bit dark makeup under the eyes or anything like that, you can help lighten that up a little bit. And even spots like this, you can see these are two totally different colors right here as it's going. It's darker right here, lighter right here, and then it's different color right here, and that just is all really blended in now. I can keep blending it more. That's just kind of the idea that I'm trying to show you right now. That, like, this is what you can do with this. You know, I can make this a little bigger, go through this part a little bit more, and really just dig deep. You know, it's already looking a lot better. And you know, a lot of people also always go overboard with this effect. You know, like, for instance, I think that this is way too much. Like, you do not want to put, you know, this much frequency separation into your photo, like this Kylie Jenner picture, because it's unrealistic. Like, if I personally, I mean, I guess it's your own taste and whatnot, but when I see those pictures, a lot of times I'm just like, they went overboard, man. You know, a little goes a long way, 100%. You know, like, I didn't do too much, and just this makes the image look so much better. Before, after, and it looks so smooth. Okay, so from there, we're going to go to texture, and I actually like to make a duplicate of the texture as well, just because you never know what you're gonna run into, right? I just want to make sure everything's non-destructive, so that way I don't have to redo everything, because this stuff actually takes a lot of time. You know, if you're editing one of these photos and you really want to look good, one photo could take 30 minutes, could take an hour. So sometimes, you know, just little things like making copies can really go a long way. So we're going to use the same tool. This time we're going to use it for textures, and we're just going to go to any textures in the face now that seem kind of out of place. Like, we don't need them to be there, just something that we can smooth out the skin a little bit more. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at spots like this. So you're going to sample somewhere, you're just gonna place right over it. So sample, I always just click and sample places. Click and sample. It doesn't matter too much where you click, because it's all skin on the face. I personally think so. I'm just gonna get... Yeah, when you get into these cameras that are like super sharp, it's just like you could see everything, and it's really easy to just go through here and really take out a lot of these little things that you don't want to see. And I mean, you could totally do this with the hair too, if you wanted to. Get rid of the hair. That's if you wanted to, you know, really go deep into this and go through all this. I'm actually not going to go through all that in this tutorial, just because I'm just kind of trying to show you the whole frequency separation. Go through here. But this method works so good. Like, you can literally have such good looking photos after this stuff, like, just by doing this. And you know, like, it's really easy to do things, you know, take out some lines from under the eye, you know. Oh, that actually made it look worse. Sometimes you want to make sure you're sampling something smooth, or else then it doesn't work. Yeah, but you know, just an idea, so you guys get an idea. Before, after. That's all you gotta do, and you get flawless skin. And you know, usually, obviously, this is like a whack job. It still looks good though, but for a whack job, you know, usually I would go through all this definitely more in depth, and even go into like the body and stuff like that, and make sure all the skin's looking really great and perfect. Even if you're like a light editor, you know, you could do something like that, and then just go up into, you know, your camera raw filter and just do some simple tweaks. And like even that looks like phenomenal. You know, like that's where we started. And that's where we're at right now. And the skin, as you can see, it's just so much smoother. But the thing about this, why you want to go the frequency separation route instead of a lot of these other routes, because a lot of these other routes, they just tell you to kind of blur the skin. Like they'll tell you, like, you know, go around here, you know, make a feather. So you're going to go select, modify, feather, say 40 pixels, and you're going to go to your Gaussian blur, and you're just going to blur the skin as you go. And they're just going to tell you to do that with a whole bunch of times and stuff like that. And yeah, that might work and it might look good, but the thing is, like, once you get closer like this, it's just going to be nothing. Like, there's going to be no skin. And that's one reason why you want to go this route, is because even if this is blowing up for print or something like that, it's real skin, and you're not messing with the skin. You're just messing with what's under the skin, the color, the blotchiness, making it all more solid, and then just getting rid of any small imperfections. It's really easy. But yeah, I guess that's it, guys. So if you guys like this tutorial, don't forget to subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100 subscribers, so if everybody that watched this video subscribed, I hopefully get there. If we could get 10 likes on this video, that would be awesome. Yeah, any like counts. If you would like to subscribe, if you would like to put in the bottom of somebody you want me to try to do an edit like. I know I did an edit like Sam Colder a couple years ago. It was almost 2 years ago, actually, since I've uploaded a video, so that's kind of crazy. I'll be making a lot more videos here soon, so that's kind of why I want to really start up this channel again, because like I said, it's been about 2 years since I've really made a video, and so I'm trying to start do it a couple times a week now. So anyway, cheers guys, thanks a lot, I'm out.